Let's get right into it. Number 9. Uncovering the Maya superhighways with lasers. Scientists have uncovered an ancient network of highways buried deep in the jungle, using high-tech lasers from airplanes. The lasers cut through the dense trees, revealing a detailed map of the ground below. What they found was astonishing. These weren't just small paths linking villages. We're talking about grand stone highways covering an area of nearly 650 square miles, bigger than Las Vegas today. The Maya created a transportation system that could rival some of today's major cities. These roads were constructed with remarkable precision, often running in perfectly straight lines. Some of them even align with the stars. The Maya engineered roads that pointed directly to where the sun rises during the winter solstice. It's as if they had their own ancient GPS powered by astronomy. For years, it was believed that Maya cities were isolated in the jungle. But in reality, they were more like ancient metropolises with stone highways connecting them. These roads carried armies, facilitated trade over long distances, and were used for grand religious ceremonies, so well built that after more than 1,000 years of being hidden beneath the jungle, some are still visible today. Number 8. Lost Egyptian city of Thonis, Heracleion. This was Thonis Heracleion, the Las Vegas of ancient Egypt. It was so impressive it had two names. The Egyptians called it Thonis. The Greeks named it Heracleion. For 2,700 years, this city served as Egypt's gateway. If you wanted to trade with Egypt, you had to go through Thonis Heracleion first. Picture it as ancient customs and border control, but with more statues and fewer forms. Then, one day, the entire city just vanished. And not slowly, either. We're talking about a catastrophic event. The ground turned into something like quicksand during an earthquake. The entire city slid into the sea as if it was on a water slide. For centuries, people thought this city was just a legend, like Atlantis, but with more pyramids and less Hollywood. Then in 2000, scientists discovered it. They found a massive statue of Hapi, the god of fertility, face down in the mud. A 16-foot-tall red granite statue, basically the ancient equivalent of a Get Lucky billboard. Ironically, the god of flooding ended up submerged underwater. Number 7. The true colors of ancient Greek statues. These ancient statues once looked like they were straight out of a comic book. Tiny traces of paint have been discovered on these ancient sculptures, thanks to UV lights and electron microscopes. It's like finding fingerprints at a crime scene. But these fingerprints are 2,000 years old. The Greeks weren't exactly subtle. They used vibrant reds, electric blues, and even gold leaf. Walking through ancient Athens meant seeing a massive statue of Zeus that looked like he'd just stepped out of a pride parade. They uncovered a marble sphinx from 500 BC that was basically the ancient version of a tattoo sleeve. It had intricate patterns and detailed feathers, all painted in dark red and blue. And the colors weren't random. They used different skin tones to show ethnicity, added gold to indicate divine status, and painted muscles to highlight strength. These statues were the ancient equivalent of a customized lowrider. For centuries, art historians praised the pure white marble as a sign of sophistication. Meanwhile, they were essentially admiring statues that had lost their makeup. The Greeks would have looked at our modern museums and thought these statues were naked. Number 6. The toxic water mystery of Tikal. The Maya were slowly poisoning themselves without even realizing it. It all started with their love for the color red. They decorated their temples and pottery with a striking red pigment called cinnabar. But cinnabar is essentially mercury in disguise. Every time it rained, the red paint would wash into their water reservoirs. These reservoirs became breeding grounds for toxic algae. But these weren't just any algae. We're talking about super toxic blue-green algae that even boiling couldn't eliminate. The Maya built these reservoirs to protect themselves from drought. Instead, they created pools of death that would make a nuclear waste dump seem inviting. Researchers discovered layers of toxic sediment at the bottom of these reservoirs. Each layer acted like a history book written in poison. The mercury levels they found would make a hazmat team nervous. When the drought hit in the 800s, people had to choose between drinking poisoned water or fleeing. Most chose to leave, which is why so many perfectly good houses were left abandoned. Number 5. Ancient Egyptian ink recipes. The Egyptians used two main colors, black for regular text and red for the important stuff. They weren't adding lead to their ink because they wanted their scribes to lose their minds. Using lead helped the ink dry faster on papyrus. When scientists hit these ancient papers with super-powered X-rays, they discovered something remarkable. The lead particles weren't just sitting on top of the papyrus. They were actually sinking into the fibers, creating perfect outlines around each letter. The Egyptians basically invented permanent markers without even realizing it. They mixed molten lead with all kinds of chemicals, phosphates, sulfates, things that wouldn't be discovered for thousands of years. This ink recipe was so effective that we can still read their shopping lists 3,000 years later. Number 4. The Shigir Idol, world's oldest wooden sculpture. When workers in Russia were digging in a peat bog back in 1890, they stumbled upon something strange. For over a century, its true age remained a total mystery. Then, scientists cracked the case. Using advanced radiocarbon dating, they discovered it had been carved 12,000 years ago. This single find changed everything, proving that ancient hunter-gatherers were creating intricate, monumental art. The object was massive, originally about 17 feet tall. The ancient artists used beaver jaws as tools to carve it. The statue has 7 faces stacked like a totem pole, covered in zigzags and waves. While the exact meaning of these symbols is still up for debate, science has already solved the biggest question. This discovery revealed a masterpiece from the very beginning of human creativity, preserved perfectly by the peat bog, like a giant wooden pickle. Number 3. Sunken wood circles. Scientists discovered something mind-blowing hidden under lakes across Europe. Perfect circles made of wood, resting at the bottom like ancient crop circles for fish. These weren't just random logs that happened to fall in a circle. They were constructed with the precision of ancient engineers. The ancient builders crafted perfect circles underwater using only wood and Stone Age tools. The wood should have decayed long ago, but the lack of oxygen in the water turned these structures into time capsules. It's as if these ancient structures were accidentally pickled. These circles were originally built on dry land. Then, over thousands of years, water levels rose and the structures slowly sank. The ancient builders used complex joinery techniques that we once thought were invented much later, but instead of using stone that would last forever, they chose wood, which eventually decays. Number 2. Reading the burnt scrolls of Herculaneum. When Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, it didn't just turn Pompeii's residents into human statues. It also roasted an entire library of scrolls in nearby Herculaneum. These scrolls were basically transformed into charcoal tubes that would crumble at the slightest touch. For centuries, these scrolls sat there, teasing historians with their untold secrets. But recently, scientists figured out how to read these scrolls without laying a finger on them. They used special X-rays to give these ancient texts a CT scan, just like doctors use to look inside your body. Then they let AI go to work on the images to uncover the hidden writing. What they discovered was fascinating, philosophical writings on pleasure and happiness. One of the first words they decoded was purple in Greek. This led to a contest known as the Vesuvius Challenge. Computer experts from around the world competed to decode these ancient texts. They successfully read entire passages from scrolls that hadn't been opened since before the fall of Rome. The scrolls were discovered in what historians believe was the home of some wealthy Roman. This guy had more than 1,000 scrolls in his personal library. Number 1. Chankillo Solar Observatory. Over 2,300 years ago in Peru, an ancient civilization built a clock using an entire mountain range. They constructed 13 towers in a perfect line across a ridge. For centuries, the purpose of these towers remained a mystery until researchers finally cracked the code. Each tower was carefully positioned to track the sun's movement throughout the year. On the summer solstice, the sun would peek out from behind the rightmost tower. During the winter solstice, it would rise behind the leftmost one. And during the equinoxes, it would appear directly between the middle towers. These ancient astronomers could tell you the exact day within 2 to 3 days just by observing where the sun rose. The towers were originally painted in vibrant colors, yellows, whites, and ochres. This massive astronomical device looked like a giant rainbow stretched across the desert, but we have no idea who built it. This observatory predates the Incas by over 1,000 years. The civilization that constructed this masterpiece vanished without leaving much trace, except for this cosmic clock. The most incredible part is that this device still works perfectly after 2,300 years. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see more.